Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Friday the 16th of February. Today we will start in Asia with Seng that has closed above resistance at 16,270. It did spike up above here a couple of days ago, a few days ago, but now we actually did close above. But we are also just testing the spike from the other day here at 16,408 with just a few, very, very close to just a few cents, really. If we can follow through and if we can get an RSI close above 60, well then there is potential up to around 17,000, and we can just get very quickly at this little trend line here, or this horizontal line here, possibly spiking up a little bit. But there is some strong resistance around there. We also have the 100 moving average coming down. However, looking at the broader picture, or the medium-term picture, we can also see that we are still in this very long-term or medium-long-term falling range or falling channel there. But maybe it can turn around. If it does close slide back in next week, well then, and maybe it was a false break. But let's see. S&P 500 closed the gap yesterday. It's about to cancel this little top and reversal candle there. We are still very much having the divergence on the RSI. The uptrend is stretched, but nevertheless it is an uptrend, and as long as we are long, then we are happy. So I wouldn't be too worried, but again, then I will, if I was long here, I will say, okay, this could be my stuff. It takes out that little correction phase there, 49.20. Nasdaq 100, also higher, and we can also, if using trend theory, well, then we are moving our stuff up to 17,478. Very close to closing the gap with a few cents there, and respect the trend, I would say, but we still have the RSI divergence, but it is still in an uptrend, so we'll stick to it. Then we have the EURUSD 50 opening higher, totally cancelling this bearish engulfing here, potential up to 4,800, possibly higher, despite the fact that we have some divergence. It's just a warning sign, it's not a sell signal. It's just telling us the uptrend is weakening, but it is still nevertheless an uptrend. DAX finally broke its deadlock here. As you can see, it's trading a little bit higher in a very narrow range, but it did break this deadlock here, which up to 17,050, and there is now potential higher to 17,250, possibly higher. Amsterdam index spiked higher. Let's see if it can hold on above the previous peak here. If it does slide back, well, then maybe that is the peak. However, there's no divergence on the RSI for now, but it could be building up. So it actually does indicate that we could see higher levels on AEX. The Belgian market, that has always been lacking, or more or less always been lagging the other markets, starting crawl a little bit higher. 3,742 is the key resistance that should be looked out for after this little dip below the upper falling trend line. CAC 40 in France, and let's move this a little bit so we can actually see where we are trading today in this little range here. But we are higher, we closed high yesterday. So what we did, we actually canceled this little top reversal pattern there. That's gone, and we are now set for 7,800, 78.47 is the 200% of this little range here. So that is not unlikely to be reached, despite the fact that there is some RSI divergence. So a little bit of weakness. The Swiss market, 11,334. Key resistance likely to be tested, and if we can get the RSI back above 60, well, then there is also a very good chance that we will cancel and at least test this top and reversal pattern here. That was a strong bounce, so this is really key support down here at 11,057. Euro dollar Yeah, a little bit of strong bounce yesterday after this break here. Is it a false break or not? Well, still, we are in a downtrend. There is a negative sentiment, so I do believe we will see your dollar pushing lower in coming weeks. But there is some fighting going on for sure. We could again revisit the 108, but we have the 200 coming down. We have the 55 coming down, but the 100 is rising. So there's some fighting going on here between the short, the medium term, and the longer term trends really. So a little bit. I would look at other FX pairs to trade if it was me for now. We have the cable that after breaking the 126.10 is trying to get back up, but I think we will see a test at 125 fairly soon. The trend is down. It's just fighting for its life, so to speak. But again, also similar to your dollar, we have the various moving averages fighting it out, and that usually gives a lot of volatility in a range here before we actually get a real direction. Yen pairs on the move, and I will do an update, more detailed update a little bit later. This morning we had dollar yen that dipped below 149.75 support. That was a resistance that was taken out. Now it's a support. Seems to be bouncing off here, and I think we will see a move up in coming days, in the coming week, next week, towards 152 level, which is the 2022 peak. Euro yen also higher after testing the 161 support a couple of times, and now we are looking at 161.87 around that 90 level. You can see here that's the previous level there. So we are on the uptrend, and there is positive sentiment, no divergence there. More or less the same picture on Aussie yen that has now broken above the 97.81, looking at the 2022 peak. Sterling yen struggling a little bit, but we are in an uptrend, no doubt about that. A lot of volatility around this 180 and a half, 189 level, but I still believe we will see it move higher towards the 191, 192 in the coming days. What hit dollar Canada yesterday, I don't know, but it was hammered back down after doing this break above 135.45. So now we can actually say, well, we are in an uptrend. And we can actually say, okay, then we should look at levels down here, because if it does take out those levels, well, then we are maybe experiencing a little bit of a turnaround. But what it seems like, we have a bit of a rising trend line there, and maybe it's forming, I don't know, we don't know yet. And this is what we do, we draw some trend lines. Maybe we have a rising wedge here, either breaking bullish or bearish out. I've usually breaking bearish, but it is a little bit up in the air at the moment. So look out for these trend lines, and we are in a bullish trend. Aussie dollar, really fighting for it here. If we get back above 65.45, well, then this shoulder pattern could be cancelled, but it will definitely be cancelled if we get above 66.25. But we have the 55 moving average coming down there. We have the 200, so there's kind of a really overhead pressure there, or kind of a lid over the upside potential, and we are still in a negative sentiment. There is potential down to 64, but quite volatile, and we are in a negative trend. But look out for these levels. Dollar Swiss, we talked about it quite a lot. Setback back below the 88.20. Just around the 100 moving average. We are below the 200, but we are in an uptrend. There's no divergence on the RSI, which is positive, so there should be potential higher in coming week or coming weeks, above 89. Finally, on the dollar index. Dollar index, also a little bit of a setback here, but we should move higher in the coming week. Also, we are in an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. Gold has bounced off the 100 moving average, but it's in a short-term downtrend. We have the 55 moving average coming down there, so I think we will see another sell-off, but a downwards pressure towards the 1974 level, which is the 786 retracement of this uptrend we saw back there in November. but really strong support around here. But we are in a downtrend, negative sentiment, the RSI. We could bounce a little bit before we see the next sell-off, but let's see here next week. If we get back above the 55 moving average, up around 2045-ish level, well, then we are in a wait-and-see position. Silver bounced strongly, as we talked about yesterday, but I still think we will see it being caught range-bound between 23 and a change and 21.90, and that's really the deadlock it needs to break, but expect a lot of volatility in that range. Oil, really not much. Well, back up again yesterday. We are trading in a tighter and tighter range. Really strong resistance up here, just below $80 on the WTI. Brent, really same picture, but we are above the cloud, which is interesting. We are in a positive sentiment, so we should see a push towards the 84.75 strong resistance, but the 100 moving average is dragging a little bit on it, but we are above the cloud, so we should see a push higher. Finally, as usual, the US 10-year Treasury yield did touch the 420 yesterday, just dipping a fraction below, bouncing back, and we could see a move up towards the 438 resistance level and the 138.2 projection of this double bottom pattern here that is unfolding. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, have a nice weekend, and happy trading.